I'm Jake.
And I'm Marlin. Hello.
AKA Gee. And welcome back to the JMC Reviews. And today is a pretty special JMC review, pretty unique. We are reviewing the widely anticipated film from Ryan Mitchelle and Brad Jones, Another Cinema Snob Movie.
What is with you and sequels?
I don't like sequels.
And what makes this review more different than others? I helped fund this movie. It was like Jesus Bro a few years ago, made through an Indiegogo campaign, and I contributed enough that I am actually a credited associate producer on this movie. There we are. So yeah, and I want to be clear, this is not going to be some biased review. We give my honest thoughts on it. We are both, and after seeing the movie for the first time, Guy, what are your thoughts?
Very, very interesting movie. They were very clear in signaling what they were going to do with the movie, because they talked about cliches and reference throughout the movie, clowns, hillbillies, and all kinds of other unpleasant things.
I definitely ate human testicles.
Now you know why I like waterboarding.
I like this movie a lot. I love the first Cinema Snob movie, and I reviewed it a few years ago, back when I still called my show The Bisexual Movie Buff, and I think this movie is, production-wise, much better than the first film. Storytelling, the characters, the way they flow, nice drone shot.
How many more miles?
About 88.
I am going to be 40 by the time this trip ends.
You're not 40 now.
No. How old do you think I am?
I started watching you in middle school. I grew up with you.
Oh God. We are old, man.
I like both films, but after my first viewing, I think this is definitely slightly better of the two. They had a lot more resources than last time, and you can tell they put their all into this movie. It's impressive because the filming schedule for this film, I believe, was somewhere between 8 or 10 days. Like the straightforward shoot was, I think, just a little over a week.
I'm not the director. That leaves me just a small enough window to blame someone else.
I thought it was a better film than before. Production quality was better. The filming was better. The sound was better. All of that kind of thing. But Brad has matured as a writer. He and Ryan Mitchelle did a better job. I think that you can see a lot better flow in this.
An audience loves an underdog story. Two people, you and Bicycle, at two different stages of your career, searching for goals of life and love.
The cast was better prepared than the people that did the first movie.
It was mostly just a group of friends.
Exactly. And not that he isn't friendly with these people as well, but the quality was up all the way through. The story was very complex, took you a lot of places that you didn't kind of expect that it would.
Yeah.
And it had a lot of references to things going on in the background and on and on and on. Just a well done, well written, and well put together production.
I do think the story was well paced, and the first film, while I do like it a lot, did go a little slow in certain areas. I guess a minor criticism with the story of this film is, at times, especially near the end, things got a little confusing, and I found myself feeling I had to really pay attention to follow some stuff, especially near the very end, especially when characters were talking and the way they kind of wrapped things up. But it was all a lot of fun in the end. I laughed, and it felt poignant.
Yeah, he did a nice job of taking a stand and not apologizing for what he does and how he does it and how he goes about it. It was written into the script, and I enjoyed that very much. Also making room for other people that he has worked with to go on to bigger and better things, perhaps.
like every person in the internet reviewer community.
Give birth to a million other entitled nitpicking crybabies, each one more desperate to ride his coattails to internet fame and glory.
You stick with me, kid. You're gonna live forever.
The film has a pretty big cast. We have Brad Jones, obviously, back as the cinema snob, or the guy who plays the cinema snob, Craig Golightly.
I like it. It's just a character, man. It's fake. It's not real. It's just...
And, obviously, Jake Norville, look up the controversy yourself, doesn't return as Neil Hall, Craig's director friend from the first film. This time, he's played by Rob Walker, of all people.
How about movie cliches? You know, things we're tired of seeing in movies.
Sequels where they replace an actor. Just come up with a new character.
Okay, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves.
And Rob Walker, he's acted in a lot of stuff before. He had a pretty big supporting role in Jesus Bro, but this is, I think, the biggest character he's ever played in a movie.
Wait, did you waterboard somebody?
Okay, 1, it is not waterboarding when you do it in a bathtub. It is enforced hygiene. 2, we had to waterboard her. There was a waterboarding scene in the movie, and we had to get her used to the punishment. She was method. We apologized for it a few years later.
As far as development of a character, it's a much better character than he's the Santa Christ in a lot of the other stuff, and those are good for brief comic inputs. But this is a more developed character, and he went with it pretty well.
Our careers are ruined, Neil.
Speak for yourself. My career was already chewed up, shat out, and flushed down the toilet.
This version of Neil is a lot more depressed and unpleasant version than the one in the first film that was played by Jake.
You gotta Tarantino his taste. You gotta find that kind of blood, guts, and tits that he'll enjoy.
You know I never told you this on the film, but I really fucking hate your character. I would rather clean out all of the septic tanks in hell than spend 10 more seconds with you in character.
He played the character well as it was written, and he took it in a way where he owned the negative side of things, definitely.
Why do you think I even directed a movie with an internet personality, Craig? Do you think it's because I knew you in high school? No. Do you think it was because of Black Angus? No. It's because apparently if you use a real live stun gun to make your actors faint on cue, that's a SAG no.
And this film does a lot of satirization and, I guess, commentary on the internet community, the type of people who go online, try to make careers. And we get that in 2 supporting characters. Shelley Songs, played by Tamara Chambers of the Nostalgia Critic.
The cinema snob? I just have to say that you're why I started content creating in the first place.
You should be more interested in real troll critics like Armand White.
I do not get that reference, but the way you said it really made me laugh.
Shelley is a music vlogger. She does songs and...
You wish upon a coffee, makes no difference if it's sugar-free. Any creamer your heart desires will be.
Yeah, she was pretty good. She's got a decent enough voice that you can listen to it and not you wonder why they're using her. She's, not the very best voice in the world, but she's pretty good.
She's like a stereotypical YouTube vlogger, and I don't watch music vloggers, but I've seen enough vlogger YouTubers to know the type of character she's playing. They try to act all energetic and positive to get successful.
It's called The Cinema Snob Movie. Would you like to buy a copy?
Yeah.
And we get Corey Goodwin of the popular podcast Double Toasted, which Brad is a huge fan of, playing a Twitch streamer named Brycicle.
Hey, Cinema Snob.
See, told you eventually a line would form.
I hate you.
Anyway, my name's...
I know who you are. You're Brycicle. He's a Twitch gamer. I used to watch his shit in between directing your shit.
Who is going through a controversy after saying some, I guess, bigoted things online while streaming a game. no doubt a parody of many Twitch streamers, gamers on YouTube who have gone on, I guess, semi-racist or said something a little racist, and it's pretty clear this character is a parody of PewDiePie.
Unfortunately, not a lot of people make racist remarks against freaks, so there's no bigger controversy to overshadow my controversy.
I guess because he's black, they have the racist rantings he goes on be about circus freaks.
If you're mad at me for saying circus freaks shouldn't have rights, that is on you. The human worm, his right should be up my ass. I can have him up my ass and the bearded lady blowing me as her chin hairs tickle my balls and make my dick grow an extra inch. Shit, my dick is so big, I should be a freak. But you know what? I'm not, because I'm a fucking person.
I get what they're going for, satirizing gamers who say something stupid in the heat of the moment. Got a little much at times, but I get what they were going for, and for the most part, I think they did a reasonably good job. It got a little over the top in some places, but I get what they're going for, and the interactions between Brycicle and Shelley, I thought were funny satirizations of people of opposing sides, viewpoints, just going at each other's throats.
You wouldn't say that about The Empire Strikes Back.
Empire didn't try to sell me space Furbies, and it also didn't turn Princess Leia into Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
I can't say anything about whether he's PewDiePie or not, as far as the background that he's trying to present. But yes, it was a fun mix-up, the way they did it, and I enjoyed his role very much.
Especially with him trying to fix his image with the PR stuff.
How could I possibly be racist against clowns when there's a building right there full of them? But I managed to find one clown here without makeup on. And look, he was also born without a set of testicles. What? Tell them how you're a circus freak and we're still friends. You're a monster. Now I'm in a bigger hole than I was earlier, and I wasn't even serious about being friends with these freaks. I'm sorry, my bad.
Strange affectations your devil friend has.
Craig and Neil, who have recently put out another movie after apparently not working together for many years. Their last big movie together was the movie that they were trying to get made in the first film, Black Angus.
The young black disco roller skater who has to have his vengeance.
And here they make the fake version of the Cinema Snob movie. Like in real life, Craig has been playing the Cinema Snob for 12 years, and Brad talked about this in some live streams promoting the movie. They're satirizing and following a little bit of Brad's actual career as the Cinema Snob.
How long do you think people are gonna watch you complain about the lighting on a Sasquatch porno?
We get a funny scene where Craig Golightly is promoting the Cinema Snob movie on a radio show, and the host is played by regular Channel Awesome collaborator and one of the stars of Brad and Ryan Mitchell's previous movie, Jesus Bro, Farhad Mohammed.
Look, I'm gonna level with you here. I really don't understand your success, man. I've been in this business for 20 years, so you're gonna have to explain to me how the fuck did you manage to be in your basement with your video camera all by yourself and somehow become more successful than me? I mean, I went to broadcasting school. Let me guess, you're self-taught.
I look at this scene and I see it as a little jab / commentary at the people that work in the old media, not understanding and talking down to the people that work in the new media.
And you've also made the blaxploitation film Black Angus. Why didn't you review that one?
Well, it got decent reviews.
Yeah, from the two people that saw it. I saw it and I thought it sucked. You should review it.
Is this you auditioning to be a writer on my show?
It shouldn't be that hard. This sucks. That sucks. You suck.
It's a quick, fun scene showing Craig having to put up with an asshole with a predetermined negative opinion of him, as well as struggling to be taken seriously as a creator.
The Cinema Snob movie.
Is it gonna suck, Craig?
Not at all, Rich, because as you've shown, you are definitely going to be walking into this movie with an open mind.
The fake movie within the movie starts out kind of following the plot line of the first Cinema Snob movie, and then it gets really exaggerated and
I must become the Cinema Snob and join a filmmaking community as they take their knowledge of movies to outer space.
I knew this would lead us to space.
To me, the because it was making fun of it, it was still the least interesting portion of the movie to me. But the idea that everything goes into outer space on the internet is...
Why even go into outer space? Because it's an internet movie! They all go into outer space!
Well, it does. I mean, Brad's been in 2 internet movies where characters go into outer space. To Boldly Flee, where the cinema snob became Darth Vader, and Atop the Fourth Wall, the movie, which I can't help but feel they're parodying that film a little bit.
Shelley goes into outer space.
No! Enough with the Wrath of Khan crap!
We get a fun appearance by Zach Lavoie, who played the main villain in the first Cinema Snob movie, playing this parody version in the movie within the movie.
And also about my father, whose legendarily large penis was used as a dick double.
We also get director Ryan Mitchelle reprising/parodying his character from the first film.
While on board this spaceship, we'll be enjoying our 12th straight viewing of Being John Malkovich.
And we get some nice cameos from old school members of Brad Jones's team, Bianca Queen and Buford Stowers.
No!
My hero.
Cinema snob for life, motherfucker.
And after their movie bombs, Craig's agent, Steve Guternstein, wonder who they're referencing there, played by Yao Gutierrez. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. This character has been a reoccurring character before on the show, and he appears to be another very cynical character, doesn't think much of his client.
Tell me about the interview.
You weren't even listening?
Sleeping all morning to avoid listening to morning radio.
You're my agent. You should be listening to this stuff.
He tells Craig that the only way to salvage his career would be to reconcile with his father.
The only thing that can save your career is Stanley Golightly.
Craig's dad? What is he gonna do? Get us out of detention?
Even Neil is surprised by what he hears about Craig's dad, which is that he was a very powerful TV producer, game show producer, and cop, dog crime show producer.
Puchinsky, Tequila and Bonetti, Doghouse.
Neil makes a very funny nepotism joke.
I always wanted my own career, hence why I write exploitation films.
Yes, but nepotism is a real thing, Craig. Why buy a Ferrari if you're not gonna take it out for a spin?
After trying to sell their movie at a Comic-Con where they encounter a very creepy fan.
Well, he's the only one to actually buy a DVD, so we might as well let him stay.
That's where they meet Shelley and Brycicle, and after getting wasted beyond belief and having a nightmare which they joked about in the opening scene.
I got one for you. An opening scene that takes place way later in the movie, which means I basically have to wait for the movie to catch up to that part. And if it's bad, I have to wait forever.
And I just realized, the opening scene, which clearly takes place later in the film, that scene never happens later.
Oh,
so that I just thought that...
The way they set it up, you expected to see it. Not there.
I'm running this monkey farm now, Frankenstein, and I want to know what the fuck you're doing with my time!
Craig wakes up from his nightmare, finds himself with Neil in the car with these 2 other internet personalities.
Besides, I don't see what the big deal is. Just road tripping with a couple of clods we just met.
And another thing that I've noticed after seeing this film, they advertise this movie as a road movie, which it is. But for a road movie, they mostly stick in the same location.
Yes. There's only so far you can go. You can't show the road in California, in Arizona, and everything else between there and Illinois.
Clearly, they don't have the budget for that. But they do a good job of making fun of that throughout the film. They even take a jab at how they don't have the best green screen.
Movies with overused green screen or CGI blood.
The scenes of them in the car playing the cliche game can get a little stretched at times, but It was fun. They're making fun of sequel cliches, most of which come true, and
Cell phones that mysteriously stop working.
Correctly guessing somebody's computer password.
Comedy sequels where they just recycle jokes from the first film.
Oh my fucking god!
Oh my fucking god!
they're enjoyable moments.
Yes. They go through it, say how bad they are, and work them into the movie.
Anyone else got any bad cliches?
Third act twists.
Ooh, third act sequel baiting.
Third act breakups.
I like the chemistry between Brad and Rob. I know they're really good friends, and they're all good friends with Tamara, but Corey Goodwin's like the fish out of water in this group. Like, yes, he has his own career, but he's never really been a part of this group before, and I thought he blended in with them pretty well, for the most part.
Oh, yeah. It was fine. The four of them worked together. Nobody was out of sync with the others. The work he did with Tamara was very good. But yes, all four of them worked real well together.
Guys, I'm going to let you know I may slip up and say something a little bad on this trip. Just because it sounds a little racist does not mean that it...
How the hell are you going to be racist towards us?
Well, Bicycle already insulted Shelley's circus freak mom. Maybe he thinks we're all freaks.
I heard that one of the major influences for the road part was movies like Easy Rider, and I don't know if I see that, but I definitely see the road movie style in this film. And, well, I'm sure they use drones. The aerial shots of them on the highway, I thought looked pretty nice. The picture quality in this film is, even though I'm not the first one to say this, it is pretty gorgeous.
Yeah. Superior to the movies he was making back when he made the original Cinema Snob movie. And
they brought back the cinematographer they had for Jesus Bro, A.J. Young, and according to Ryan in a stream they did right before the movie came out, A.J., when they were filming in Chicago, I believe, told them, okay, we're in Chicago, so the air should look this thick. And Ryan was like, like, never would have thought of that.
Nobody will ever notice that.
This movie was filmed in November 2018. Took a while to make, but now that I've seen the film, I see why. They put everything into making this picture quality and sound quality as crisp as possible, and
Any one of those clowns tries to bust out of here, me and my 9mm little friends are gonna stop them from integrating into society.
And while on their road trip, they stop at a gas station where they encounter, at first, a pretty random character that I honestly thought was kind of just a weak addition to the film. Hector, played by Ray Villarreal.
Now this is a nice looking van.
Looks like a stereotypical 80s bully with a nice car, and for some reason wants to challenge a bicycle to a race.
You see, because this isn't a race. This is a match of life.
And he occasionally appears throughout the film. In one sequence, tries to shoot them, causing them to go off the road, and another poking cliches.
Get off the main road! We're gonna get lost!
No one's gotten lost since cell phones have come out.
Well, didn't take long for us to get lost.
Not long at all.
Not long at all.
Not long at all.
A much better use of the cell phones don't work trope than, say, in Jeepers Creepers.
Why aren't any of our cell phones working?
Because everything around us is a very Texas Chainsaw Massacre Christmas special. That's why our phones aren't working.
And this leads to the main setting for the film. They're in some, I guess, almost rural redneck town.
But surely you must know which direction west is?
Well, I know how to get from here to my home, and if that's west, then you can go that way.
This film really took a shot at rednecks.
It did. It did. It did take a shot at it. Everybody is in collusion with each other, and
Shot him point blank dead.
Well, lucky for you, me and the whole sheriff's department is in on it, the whole thing.
I get the feeling Brad don't like the southern folk.
I don't think it's so much southern as just rural. I didn't get the southern that much out of it.
They live in a town where people hate hearing about, they just hate hearing the word California.
I'm trying to get to California.
Did you say California?
Are y'all boys going to Hollyweird?
You just had to mention California and a diner of rednecks.
Well, I lived in a state where if you were from California, they thought less of you, and it wasn't South. So, enough said.
And getting away from those folk, they make their first pit stop of the movie, a farm inhabited by a southern girl named Virginia Pasterson, played by Brad Jones's wife, Laura Luke Jones.
Where do y'all need to go?
LA, please don't throw vegetables at us.
Well, that's not a part of my map. The only map I got leads straight to my vagina.
Subtle.
I'm just kidding, y'all.
Laura's made a lot more appearances over the years. She had a major starring role in Brad's previous film, Disco. She's made many appearances in streams, and I think she's shown that she can act. What did you think of her as her role as the crazy cannibal slut?
Well, she did that role, yeah. It was kind of a takeoff on Farmer's Daughter, but they were also eating people. It was well written for that. She played the role very well. They worked in the interracial thing a little bit there, so just so that we were not treading on you enough, we're going to stomp that into you as well.
Do you really think it's a good idea to leave her out there with that?
No. He seems like the type who would love his daughter's interracial porn going on upstairs.
She went with it. She did fine, and all of her follow-up scenes, she...
Quite a good crazy killer.
Yeah, she was good.
And her father, Earl Pasterson, played by John Means.
Oh, ha!
What are you all doing in my home?
Oh my fuck.
Well. City folk.
He said that far less flirtatious than she did.
You trying to come into my house and fuck my daughter's bananas?
That's, half right.
I looked this guy up. He only has 3 acting credits as far as I could see. One of his roles was for a Billy D. Williams movie from the 80s. And this guy, for the couple of minutes of screen time he had, really did a fun job playing a creepy, multi-bigoted redneck.
Dear President Trump.
Oh, God.
As our God and our Lord Savior, we want to thank you for this all-American meat that we're about to partake in. And thanks for keeping out the Muslims and all those immigrants and giving us the bad meat that we don't like so much. Please grace this table with some delicious, good old American meat. Amen.
He was all of that. He did a good job on it, and somehow or another I just got the impression he was enjoying playing that role. Just,
And it's funny.
Just the silliness of it.
How he shows up and this random guy who doesn't really seem that connected to civilization is like the only fan of Shelley's YouTube channel.
Wait a minute, I know you.
You do?
Yeah, you're that Shelley song girl. Well, I'm your biggest fan. You got the prettiest singing mouth.
And at first she's like, I have a fan. And then he takes her out back to slaughter a pig. And I like how she's obviously from the younger, trying to be politically correct internet generation, mixing with this old, mean, politically incorrect killer.
Yes, it was an awkward pairing, to say the least.
One hit. Otherwise, you got a mentally deranged, retarded pig.
Mr. Pasterton, you know how my song goes. Reading, writing, arithmetic. Those are the 3 R's we know and love. As for the other 4th R, no siree, no room for retarded.
Jeez. Some people are so sensitive.
And the scene where Craig goes outdoors with Shelley.
So many pigs died just so you could make this unfortunate fashion statement.
Shut up! It was 1 pig. You're a lot nicer than you are on camera.
The scenes where Shelley and Craig just talk as themselves, out of character. I thought those scenes were oddly touching at times.
Yeah.
Like they seem
very,
genuine.
Very personal, yes.
And then it's immediately followed up with a girl with her guts slipping out.
Mm-hmm. Someone who had been, I suppose, previously butchered but wasn't quite dead until she got into the camera view, and there you go.
No spleen. If that's that, then what the fuck are they eating inside?
This is definitely the part of the film that was influenced by Motel Hell. Brad has said that Motel Hell and Tourist Trap were some major influences on this film. And you haven't seen Motel Hell, but we did watch Tourist Trap a little bit in preparation for this movie. Could you see a little bit of similarities to Tourist Trap?
Oh, sure. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of that stuff going on. All of a sudden, people from away come into these situations and they find themselves trapped in...
Prisoner.
Yeah, more or less, because it's just crazy people that they're involved with, and the other people have the upper hand, that's for sure.
They're cannibals.
What?
We just found the remains of 3 young girls in the barn.
And just when it seems like they're gonna find themselves being on the eating end of the cannibals, especially Mr. Goodwin.
You guys know what? You're 100% racist.
How can I be racist when I prefer dark meat?
Neil, out of nowhere, pulls out a gun and kills the cannibal dad.
Where the fuck did you get that gun? We're in deliverance country. Did you think I wouldn't be packing?
And the gunshot effects in this film are pretty fake looking, but considering they make fun of that kind of stuff, I give it a pass. Although, after seeing the practical effects they did in the first film, I kind of missed that a little. But anyway, they immediately get in their van with Virginia firing at them, being a worse shot than a fucking stormtrooper.
What the hell did you run her over? Man, I still think there's room in her heart for redemption. I guess this puts us at the top of the food chain.
That's funny.
It's not the time for jokes. I told y'all we shouldn't have stopped.
They encounter more of the town, and yeah, they find out the whole town is in on everything. Very video violence-ish.
They killed my pa!
They killed Earl? We needed his meat.
Then they drive behind some gravel, which, as Neil says,
rednecks can't see past gravel.
And they just sleep through the night. And then they wake up and are like, well, at least it was no dream.
But...
Well, guys, I agree. Sleeping it off really was the best idea.
So they go on foot, and as Neil and Craig bicker, we hear Brycicle and Shelley just bicker about The Last Jedi, and...
The Last Jedi pushed forward the story and subverted your expectations.
If subverting my expectations means big disappointment, then yes.
Arguments that we've seen online, and arguments that people who can't stand people arguing about The Last Jedi think they probably bitch about. And then they encounter Doug Walker's character.
Goat balls. Seriously?
We deep fry them after castration instead of freezing them overnight.
Doug plays Bally Joe, the owner of a ball stand, a goat ball stand. And it's funny because they established earlier when going over the bad reviews for the Cinema Snob movie within the movie, the nostalgia critic exists in this universe.
Normally, I remember it so you don't have to, but this time I'm going to put a bullet in my head to stop me from remembering. Doug Walker.
Great. Even the nostalgia critic hates you, and that guy's a hack.
Which wouldn't be surprising, because they do crossovers.
They do crossovers.
And Ashley Appleby says, I bet the cast didn't even get catering from my family's restaurant.
Oh, she just sounds like she wants a plug.
Get it?
And we get a parody of Brad's other online show, Brad Tries.
Shelley,
I slaughtered a pig yesterday. You owe me this crossover. Put a fucking ball in your mouth.
Oh my god. It's terrible.
I showed this clip to my best friend, and he really got grossed out by it.
Yeah, it's a gross thing.
Although...
Brad Tries.
When I was looking at that stuff, I think it's pretty obvious. Those are eggs he's eating.
I'm certainly thinking they are.
So, how gross it is, I guess, is up to you.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was funny, especially when he was like, oh, there's hair in it!
It's so hairy!
like the worst job on a porn set. Ugh.
You just ate a double rack of human flesh less than 24 hours ago. Suck it up, Buttercup.
I don't think I saw him eat that.
This has been Shelly Eats. Or rather, Shelly forces the cinema snob to eat. We're still working on that title.
Bitch. Bally Joe takes them to his clown museum to get jumper cables for the car.
They're all gonna die.
Neil, who apparently has a big phobia of clowns, refuses to go in. And Brycicle stays with them, trying to use the location as good PR, and they never commented on it, but in that shot they're doing for the stream, saying, "Hey, I'm in front of a clown museum," the building's not even in it.
It is not.
It's just, it's funny, because what an idiot.
I still can't get over that this guy makes millions of dollars. I need to play some video games.
Craig and Shelley go in, and they're back in character, and she doesn't take the whole thing seriously, but Craig immediately picks up, there's something really off here.
These are real fucking people.
Oh, come on.
I see we have a pair of guests.
Care to describe Doug's clown showman performance?
Well, he comes out, he's no longer in the character as Bally Joe, he's kind of like the announcer for the clown museum, and we have 2 or 3 of the clowns, and they're obviously trained, and
Which brings us to... Shuckle.
Well, maybe you should have given as much thought to their names as you did their backstory.
Are you sure you're not the cinema snob in real life?
Chuckles has only one enemy. Film critics.
so Craig Golightly says, I've seen enough movies that I know
that I am surrounded by serial killing clowns.
We would like you to get your jumper cables and escort us to our van immediately. Thank you.
they're in trouble, they're running from one another, and the clowns have electrical signal devices on their neck, which is...
Like dog shock collars.
Yeah, and which is apparently how they're controlled to get them to do what Bally Joe and I guess the whole rest of the town wants them to do.
And we see that bringing the Pastersons back in, the Pastersons meat is what they feed to the clowns, so they're all connected, and they comment,
We not only generate enough revenue to keep the economy thriving, but we have 2,000 followers on Facebook, 120 followers on Twitter, and our Instagram is growing by the minute!
Bally Joe is very savvy with the internet.
You think you can send me a link so I can post that on my Facebook wall?
Oh yeah, totally. Just don't forget to tag us.
Likewise, we'll exchange links. Say, can you put that review on my Yelp?
Plus, he is incredibly knowledgeable about our culture.
Shelley ends up being captured, and this leads to a whole sequence where Craig, Neil, and Brycicle have to try to rescue her.
Boys and girls!
I am never sleeping again.
I want to read you a bedtime story!
Is that Ryan?
Oh my God! Help me, please! For the love of God, help me! I want to make the world laugh!
And they find that they've turned her into a clown.
They are definitely turning her into a clown.
I remember in the trailer and the sneak peek clip, this sequence looks genuinely creepy, and well, there is a lot of humor in it, visual-wise, and at certain moments, like when Shelley started acting like a clown.
You think she could go up and talk to him?
I can't. Because I am one.
I'm immune to your trolling.
Yeah, all of a sudden she's not Shelley, she is a clown, she's made up as a clown, and acting as a killer cannibal clown would act. And she pulls it off very well.
Tamara's very talented. She can do a lot, and this character, well, she could get a little annoying at times. She was meant to be, and I've seen Tamara play nice, angry, annoying, sad. She can really do a lot if you give her the right script.
Yes, I've always thought Tamara does well on anything that Doug Walker's had her do. She just goes in and she goes wherever it's needed and she pulls it off.
And through dumb luck, another cliche they poked fun at, Neil and Bicycle get the collars that control the clowns deactivated, and all of a sudden, they have their free will back.
You told people that I ate children's voice boxes. Now I'll never be able to get a job.
I never used intestines to make balloon animals. That is an exaggeration.
And another poke at internet culture, Bolly Joe's like,
Clowns, you don't want to kill us. We are the only ones who will tell you exactly what you want to hear. We're your safe space. We don't care that you eat human flesh. We won't judge you. They are the internet. They will send the Twitter mafia on you because they judge you. Is that really what you want?
but it's not good enough, and Bolly Joe ends up being on the receiving end of cannibalism. And as the group makes their escape, Virginia comes out with a chainsaw.
I will fucking kill you!
And then, out of nowhere, the Hector character reappears and...
When the road fights back, we'll shoot it in the fucking face with the machine gun!
The Virginia character is dead. I guess there was no redemption for her.
Nope.
I'm the road god!
And from there, the group just starts to fall apart. After listing everything that's gonna happen, it all happens.
Steve, why are you calling me?
That Craig is hiring another director for his next movie. He's stabbing you in the back!
But it's clear Neil doesn't really give a shit.
Well, it just seemed like the agent was lying, actually, and he hadn't really planned to get a new director, but he really wanted to break him up and get even with him for
just being an over-emotional bitch.
Yeah, because he didn't get invited on the road trip.
Hello. I just told Neil that you were seeing other directors. This is for not inviting me to your stupid road trip. You guys have all the fun without me, man.
Bicycle decides to leave, gets in the car with another random clown.
Just don't try to eat me and we're good.
Craig, for some reason, thinking this movie needs realism, suggests they go to the FBI to report everything.
Sounds logical to me.
Yeah, me too.
Let's do it. Could have kept driving.
I'm pretty sure we lost them at clown shot collars.
That was a funny jump cut.
Mm-hmm.
Hey! Let me the fuck out of here!
How the hell did you end up in here?
That clown tried to eat me. I beat the shit out of him, and I name dropped you and myself to get out of this, but it didn't work.
I almost wish there had been a few more scenes of them in the mental institution, but they used it well for them being locked up and at each other's throats.
Save some complaining for Craig.
I barely said a word since we've been here.
Oh, you wouldn't have a career without complaining.
Yeah, it was as long as it needed to be to get the impression across.
I'd like to think that what we do involves some level of comedy and not just calling someone a cunt. Or am I crazy?
And we even have time to make a little dig at copyright rules on the internet. When they try to have like a mental institution talent show.
Look, whoa, Craig, we gotta stop you there. A lot of those acts get hit with content IDs because, well, we don't own the rights. Just a couple royalty-free ones on there for you.
Is that why every movie in the Rec Room is Night of the Living Dead?
And then Jim J. Ross of the Nostalgia Critic makes an appearance.
I'm here to sign you up.
What?
Your father sent me.
Well, what about us?
Actually, I'm here for all of you.
Yeah!
No, all of you, just Craig and his friends, the entertainers.
After spending about half of this road movie in one location, they just jump to them in LA, where we finally get the scene where Craig sees his father, who he's been estranged from for many years.
I just wanted to tell you good luck. And airplane reference.
The casting of the Cinema Snob's dad was a well-kept secret for almost a year. Before the movie was even made, they did not announce who they were hoping to cast in the role, and when they filmed the movie and then came to shooting that particular scene well after the main shoot was over, like, they didn't announce who it was until I believe the scene was wrapped up. And when people were guessing last year, when they were raising the money, Brad commented, no one got it right. And yeah, none of us could have guessed this. The Cinema Snob's dad is played by Lloyd Kaufman, the founder and co-owner of Troma Entertainment, probably the sleaziest B-movie studio currently on the planet. And as you said, don't know why, but that's clever.
It is.
It's like, I don't know if it was the casting we all would have envisioned, but it's like, it's almost, when you think of it, you just after you see it, it's almost perfect.
Sit down, Craig.
Yeah. Dad, this is embarrassing.
So, how did the discussion go between father and son at that point?
Dark in here. It's a little empty. I mean, thanks for that. Glad you're using our good movie. I tried calling you.
You should have called more, Craig. We should have spent more time together. Seriously. I've got nothing to do. All I do is sit around with these reality shows. We get a house, we lock some nobodies in there, release some alligators, and that's it.
I must have missed that show of yours.
I kept wondering when I heard that Lloyd Kaufman was going to play his dad, was Lloyd going to do his usual shtick? Because in cameos he does in other people's work, in interviews, he almost always has a really over-the-top and animated performance. And while there is some of Lloyd here, like his wide-eyed smile and stuff.
You should have stayed in film school.
What? Add to my already crippling debt?
Craig, I'm rich. I'm loaded. I could have bought you a film school. Today, you could be making great movies like Suicide Squad or something like that. I don't understand you at all, and I sure don't understand this online world.
This is the most reserved I have ever seen Lloyd Kaufman. And with the lighting in this scene, I'm kind of glad he didn't go too over the top. But it's definitely Lloyd, the way he talks and stuff. And the scene with Craig and his dad is funny. It borders on being perfect and poignant and being, was this what we were building up to? Like, they talk and there's almost no real resolution of things. But they talk and his dad hammers into him, so your movie bombed. At least you made a movie. How many people can say they've done that? And while he doesn't get his career, he's had his fair share of bullshit entertainment that he's been involved in. And says, you know what you're doing.
Well, they use the interaction with the father to really talk about what's going on in your life. You bombed once. And Lloyd, the dad goes on to say, how many times have I bombed? Over and over again. He does talks about himself as though it is him.
You made one bad movie. Do you know how many crap shows I've put on the air? How much garbage? How much stuff I've regretted? Do you know how many regrets I have? You think you're entitled to success? You think you're entitled to that? Success is 88% just showing up. You just gotta persevere. You just gotta keep working and maybe develop a thicker skin.
He's very open about, you know, not everything is good, and then he goes and says, About 88% of success comes from just showing up in this business. It's the easiest business in the world. I'm sure they consulted with him about what the script was going to say. You know, it's essentially, I raised you. Your mother raised you. You know how to go about things. Don't get your dauber down because you made a bad movie.
You gonna sit around and mope because success didn't come for this particular thing, because some people didn't like what you did, or are you gonna suck it up and move forward?
And, you know, I'm not sure he said it in these many words, but it's kind of like part of the message he was saying. There's going to be a lot of people that will criticize you all the time.
Stand it like a man and give some back.
And he plays this video for him in a funny moment where, after fearing it would get a review on this show, he plays an audio clip from this show called Everything Shitty.
I only have 3 days left to live, so I'm using my final wish to give you everything shitty about the Cinema Snob Movie. Number 1, Craig's beard is obviously fake.
It's a parody of Cinema Sins, and what's funnier, the voice you hear there is the actual guy who does the voice for Cinema Sins. And I thought that was pretty cool that they were able to get him.
Oh yeah, somebody who does that could step in here and do a parody of his own work. You know,
it's interesting because in the past, Brad has made it kind of clear he really doesn't like Cinema Sins. So, I don't know, maybe he's lightened up or maybe they're that professional. But the scene with his father was very well done. It was funny, it had a point, a little bit of a message, but not too serious that it seems too pretentious. And Lloyd Kaufman gave a pretty solid 5-minute performance.
Absolutely, absolutely. It was well written, and the message was an important message.
Couldn't even afford a plane ticket, could you?
Well, you know, happiness does have a budget. And I'm getting married again.
Mom says hi.
And after his meeting, Neil's like, well, are our careers saved? He's like, I don't know. And then Jim J. Ross comes out and tells them that he offers them a TV show, but he's actually only more interested in getting Brycicle and Shelley. So, Brycicle and Shelley get a happy ending.
A bicycle built for Shelley.
I'm famous now!
I am so excited, and that is a terrible title.
The film wraps things up pretty abruptly. I mean, I get that's kind of what they're satirizing or the kind of ending they're going for. In the end, I thought it worked well the way it all played out, but part of me was wondering, please don't choke at the last minute. Please don't choke at the last minute. Neil and Craig go outside and they say, what are we gonna do now? Then he gets one more call from his agent, this time actually positive, where he tells him that without showing whoever this is, that they've got a really rich guy who has horrible taste in movies, who's more than willing to fund anything they make, as long as they put up $50,000 first. And they're like, how are we gonna do that? And then Hector shows up again.
Well, you guys did it. You guys beat me fair and square. Here's the $50,000 we agreed upon.
Steve, tell him it's a deal.
Convenient. And they take the money, and Hector's like, I'm gonna go drive off a cliff. And Neil says, probably what we're all thinking.
I lost the race. And nothing of value was lost.
And while Neil continued to be an overly mopey sack, I'm glad the final moment between him and Craig was one where they were smiling.
Have I ever told you how much I hate vanity projects? Particularly pretentious ones.
I do believe we just made one, and it was laughed off the screen.
That's where it ends.
What the hell is going on here?
I like the wrap up. I think they took it as far as they could, had their message.
They knew their limit.
And then Lee knew what was going to happen with some of the main characters, and they turned it off. I liked it. I liked the way that worked. I didn't feel it was rushed or anything. I was right there with it. So you and I aren't exactly on point with that.
Well, if we were, it wouldn't be an interesting conversation. But I like that it kind of leaves it open for a potential third movie.
Mm-hmm.
And Brad has joked, well, he has no plans right now. Cinema Snob 3D.
Oh boy.
I like this movie a lot. It was really well made. Everybody did a solid job. But when the credits start rolling, I finally got to see what I was really looking forward to. Seeing my name under associate producers. And I got to see many other names I've come pretty familiar with over the past year. I'm glad we all got the chance to help fund this movie, help get it made. And this movie's budget, their aim originally was to make $50,000. That was, according to Ryan, the minimum amount they would need. But they had a stretch goal of 75, which they said would afford them the actor they wanted to get to play the snob's dad. And the final amount they reached was $67,753. But according to Brad, the super chat donations they got while they were live streaming the Indiegogo kind of put them close to their stretch goal, so they got it. And I'm really happy for them. And according to Brad, as of when we're filming this, he said the movie had the most successful opening day of any movie they've put out.
What a score. Fucking A.
I give this movie, he doesn't do ratings, so just say, did you love it? Or did you...
All I was doing was pretty much in my mind comparing it to the original Cinema Snob, and this was a superior movie in virtually every way. I liked it, it was fun, and I had to work to keep with the storyline, but the acting made that flow very well.
I agree it is superior in almost every way. Like I said, I felt a little confused in certain areas, and some of the characters could get a little over the top in certain moments. I mean, I know the Cinema Snob is over the top, but Brad Jones, great writer. He's a competent director when he does his own really low-budget movies. But as the Cinema Snob, he really shines here, and he does the pretentious, stuck-up personality that we come to know and love. But the moments where he and Tamara go out of character and kind of show a more sensitive side, more vulnerable side, I think really shows that Brad is capable of being more than just playing the Cinema Snob as far as being an actor.
Yes, I can't agree more.
Anyway, I liked it overall. It was a fun blast of a movie, and I am so fucking proud to be a producer on this film, and I hope Brad, Ryan, everybody continues to make movies, continues to make more projects. I give this movie, on my 10-star scale, an 8.5 out of 10. 2 thumbs up from this motherfucker. The film has a post-credit scene that I won't spoil, but definitely watch this movie all the way through. It will be both hilarious and yeah.
I wasn't expecting that to happen.
Hope you enjoyed our review. This has been Jacob Matthew Crawford, associate producer for Another Cinema Snob Movie, and Marlin Crawford, my grandfather, who I call Guy because grandpa sounds like a stupid word to me, always has. Thank you for joining me.
Good to be here.
See you all later in the next review.
Later.
Well, that went well.
Yeah. Yes, it did.
You ever wonder what the cinema snob would think of us? I don't mean Brad Jones. I mean the cinema snob, the character. What do you think he would think of us?
Who knows?
Oh, I got a message. Wonder who it is.
Hello, longtime fan and associate producer of Another Cinema Snob Movie, Jacob Matthew Crawford. I just wanted to give you a message that says, how dare you? How dare you review a Friday the 13th movie on Friday the 13th, just like I did? How dare you review Halloween movies around Halloween, just like me? How dare you taste Crystal Pepsi, just like I taste Crystal Pepsi? How dare you review the movie Windows, just like I did, and make the same reference to Alan McElroy writing both Left Behind and Halloween 4. This makes me very, very angry, but in all due seriousness, good luck to you in your future endeavors, and say hi to your grandfather for me. He seems like a very, very fun person. Just don't do anything else that I have done. I don't even care if you did some of them before I even did them. You have to prepare for this kind of embarrassment in advance.
That was awesome!